We start the Dhamma talk. Everyone may consent with 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Unaca parang bhikkhave bhikkhu dhammesu dhammanupassī vihārati chatusu ariya saccesu tī. Dear Dhamma friends, as we all know, almost now we have been here for a retreat for 8 days, and today is the 8th day, and according to the 8th Dhamma talk, and for all the 8 subtopics, we have taken one particular topic or one particular discourse known as the Sathipattana Sutta for foundation of mindfulness, and gradually we have covered the foundation of mindfulness, the first, second, third, fourth, and now for the last 3 days we were dealing with the last aspect, that is the mental phenomena or mental aspects, how to deal on contemplation on the mental phenomena, on mental phenomena. And there are also profound Dhamma, a number of things discussed or discoursed under this subtopic, and now we have come to the last section, that is to say, or bhikkhu, here again a monk dwell upon the contemplation of the Dhamma specific with the Four Noble Truths. As far as these Four Noble Truths are concerned, those who analyze all the teaching of the Buddha sometimes wish to put them into a nutshell called these Four Noble Truths, because it is covering almost all the aspects, but it is not a universal acceptance. Some people say this, if one wish to put everything of the teaching into one, that must be the dependent origination. Some may say it is the 37 factors of enlightenment, or still this Four Noble Truths also some people consider as the gist of the Dhamma. So the very first discourse the Buddha delivered is known as Dhammacakkappawattana Sutta. There he, for the first time in the human history, explain and present these Four Noble Truths in an elaborated manner. In this particular Sathipattana Sutta also, this is the conclusive chapter. After one develop mindfulness and the concentration to the full-fledged, he will contemplate or dwelling on the contemplation of the Dhamma aspects or mental aspects as mental aspects based upon these Four Noble Truths. And the Buddha asking a question itself in order to explain this in little detail. Katanca bhikkave bhikkhu dhammesu dhammanupassī vihārati chatusu ariya saccesu. So monks, how a monk can dwell on these Four Noble Truths, dwell on Dhamma as Four Noble Truths. There he says, Unaca parang bhikkhu idang dukkhaṃ ariya sacchanti yatābhūtaṃ pajānāti, ayam dukkha samudayoti yatābhūtaṃ pajānāti, ayam dukkha nirodhoti yatābhūtaṃ pajānāti, ayam dukkha nirodhagāmini patipadāti yatābhūtaṃ pajānāti. That indicates the Four Noble Truths, that is very famous. Those who have gone through the books, they are very familiar with these terms. So that is to say, one has to understand the suffering or unsatisfactoriness as it is to the full-fledged. And one has to understand the cause or proximate cause or cause for this unsatisfactoriness or suffering to its full-fledged as it is. And then the emancipation from this suffering, one has to comprehend as it is, and that is the third one. The fourth one is the path leading to this emancipation, one has to comprehend and understand thoroughly. So today we are going to take one by one as the time permits. The first one is the dukkha satya, that means the truth of suffering. So therefore religious teachings, contemporary religious teaching, when you take, everyone is assuring some kind of a satisfaction, some kind of a solace by be either devotion or through the wisdom. So therefore those who are utterly suffering from, utterly desperately suffering from these vicissitudes of the life, they go in search of or take refuge of one or the other religion. And Buddhism is the only religion which is presenting at the outset the suffering as suffering. So therefore one person writing a book on this path, he says, therefore psychopaths will never go to Buddhism, because psychopaths are only going for the pleasure-seeking game. So therefore the Buddhist presentation won't give any welcoming for that kind of pleasure-seeking people, because it's, at the outset it is talking about the suffering. But yet another interesting observation is, even though other religions are, I am not going to criticize those of things, I am just trying to make points to clear. It is none of my business to criticize the religion, other religions, whatever may be. Even though other religions assures so much of good things, when you go to religious places, you can see desperate pictures and desperate sculptures with all the kind of suffering. But even the Buddha is talking and presenting the truth of suffering at the outset. When you look at the picture of the Buddha, see the statue of the Buddha, it's the most contented person you can find, most happy person you can find in the world. Although he is talking about the truth of suffering at the outset, he himself present the complete contentment and complete satisfaction. So one has to understand these things before going into detail into the suffering. Specifically in this particular sutta that we have taken, namely the Sathipattana Sutta, won't give much of details as to what is the truth of suffering. In order to fulfill that gap, if we are to quote the first sutta the Buddha uttered just after his enlightenment, namely the Dhammajiva Sutta, there he takes enough time to explain what is the truth of suffering. Katanchāvuso dukkhaṃ ariyavaccaṃ, or monks, what is it called the noble truth of suffering? He says, jātipi dukkha, jarapi dukkha, vyādhipi dukkho, maranampi dukkhaṃ, yampiccāṃ alapasitampi dukkhaṃ, appiye sampayogo dukkho, appiye sampayogo dukkho, vipayogo dukkho, sankitteya pañcupādānakkhandhā dukkha. This is what the definition he gives as to the truth of suffering. He says the birth is suffering, and falling into sicknesses and illness is a suffering. Old age, suffering. The death is suffering. Whatever you wish, you won't get, that means suffering. And departure from the good friends is suffering. And the coming close with the bad friends and the bad guys is a suffering. Ultimately, all your 5 aggregates, nothing but suffering. So this is the theoretical explanation. But even then, all the Buddhists, conventional Buddhists, accept it. They fail to see the birth as a suffering. They always throw parties on the birthdays. Never throw parties on the death. They don't consider it as an auspicious thing, but never forget to throw parties on the birthday. Therefore, they wish and they expect, they aspire to have the birth, but never to have the old age, sickness and death. So much so, to keep on in the rebirth, what you gain is, from the Buddha's point of view, even the very birth is suffering. That the mother who undergoing this labor pains knows very well what it is. We can't explain it we can't get the first-hand experience by ourselves. When we are born, we have no memory on that, but mothers knows. But even then, the camouflage in the world is to present the birth as a auspicious thing. But unlucky enough, after the birth, definitely he will be handed over to the aging business, and then to the sicknesses and to the death. As and when the aging happens, as and when the sicknesses come, as and when the death happens, everyone finds complete, with their complete effort to get rid of all these things. But the civilization of the human and the recorded history, no one achieved it. No one achieved complete health. No one achieved this rejuvenation. No one achieved deathlessness. So therefore, in Burma, they say all the expert doctors are bound to die. Even the doctors and all the lawyers are bound to lie. So these two are universal facts. They have a royal doctor, but everyone died. They prescribe and come and talk about the big high theories, but they themselves succumb to this situation. So this is the universal truth. So after the Buddha's invention of the truth of suffering in its bold form and the direct way of presenting, they have absorbed some of them into the Hinduism also, and there they have a very famous and sarcastic presentation. He said that sloka, or the stanza, it says, Aho nirmana kaushalyam yena lokam vinirmitam jagatyasmin svipule swastato naikopi labhyati. It says, it's a how nice creation the Creator has done. In such a big, vast earth, you can't find a single person can claim fully healthy. If he is representing his own creation, at least he would have created a single person throughout our history that can claim a healthy person, not a single form. No one will argue for that also. So therefore the Creator himself must be a sick person. Because all his creations are sick. The Buddha, he says in the Jataka story, if the Creator is creating the world with this cheating and lying, he can't understand. And what, according to the Buddha's teaching, all the creation is nothing but suffering. So therefore we should not name him as a creator, but we have to say him as a destructor. But he created this utter destruction. From A to Z is suffering. So that is what the truth of suffering. It says the birth is suffering, old age is suffering, sickness and the diseases are suffering, and the death is suffering. And passing that, this is the life story, and it's called samsaric diseases. No one can bypass it. It is the utter truth. Even though whatever the status we have regarding the health conditions, economic conditions, political conditions, and the others, these four, no one is escaped. So, what the Buddha, what is his suggestion, what is his pragmatic presentation is just mere accepting this as a truth. As far as you are going to reject it, as far as you are going to avoid it, as far as you are going to find a solution for it, what you do is repetitively you are falling into the same trap. Instead, the first day you accept it, truth will become a noble truth of suffering. The suffering will become a noble truth of suffering. Till that only we are waiting. If you are try to avoid it, if you are trying to react to it, if you are trying to get rid of that, if you have any hope, even in dreams, that we can get rid of that, so much so you are creating suffering and repeatedly falling into the suffering. The Buddha says, with vigilant mind, with diligent mind, with mindfully, accept the suffering and then you are better off. That is the utter or ultimate teaching of the first noble truth. Because that not only that jati jara vyadhi marana, he says whatever you expect, if you are not going to get, it is a suffering. Whenever you are associating with the unwanted people, it is suffering. Whenever you are departing from the lovable person, it is suffering. Ultimately, your whole five aggregates are suffering. So, being so, how can we live in this world for 100 years, for 90 years, for 80 years, for 70 years? And the sage came in Burma, in India, known as Mahatma Gandhi. He says, world is such a thing full of suffering. I can't understand why it is not toppling off. Because it is no two things, it is suffering, he says. It is because of jokes and humiliation, not the humiliation, with the smile and the gladness you can world in the balance. Otherwise, it is from beginning to the evening, it is suffering. So you must have something to be glad in it, in the suffering itself. Then only you can have a balance. So therefore, it is just a mere change of the perspective, whether you accept it or not, whether you see through it or not. Suffering is suffering. Even the teaching, even the giving of inside knowledges won't give any reduction of it, but instead you get proper understanding, you get understanding as it is, and then you develop immunity, you develop the resistant power or galvanizing power, so you can endure it happily. That is the way you go through it, you see through it. So therefore one has to take time to understand the truth of suffering. In the particular, the sutta that I quoted as the first sutta of the Sutta Pitaka known as Dhammajiva Sutta, it says the truth of suffering have two facets to understand in the pragmatic level. It says the first one is Satche Jnana, second one is Kicha Jnana, third one is Katha Jnana. First you have to understand the truth of suffering as truth of suffering. Then you have to understand theoretically, in order to comprehend it, in order to master it, what you have to do. And the third one is, once you accomplished it, that you must know it is accomplished. So these three are the thing the Buddha mastered. And then he says, earlier I have known that kind of a pragmatic approach towards the suffering. Now I know the truth of suffering, that is the universal truth. And I can tell, and I have mastered what is to do to understand the truth as truth. and how I came to the conclusion that I have completed. So, first thing in the theoretical basis, by listening to talks and reading the discourses and taking part in the discussions, what we do is just make our mind to accept the truth of suffering as truth of suffering. It itself is, for some people, appear like sadistic, appear like nihilist, appear like destructive. So they say, we instead find ways and means in terms of pleasure seeking. We must not entertain understanding the truth of suffering, and that is how the fictitious views come into being. They say that don't worry about the consequences under the present circumstances. What is the maximum thing you can do for the pleasure, do for the indulgence, self-indulgence and the sensuous indulgence, do it. Instead, the Buddha, more pragmatically, he says, in the first place, at the outset, you have to understand the truth of suffering. Theoretically, you have to accept, philosophically, you have to accept, that is, you can't change. So, only thing is, you can adopt into that, and how can, and therefore, he says, all the set of suffering, you must be ready to accept it, as and when it is happening. It is not an invitation, it is not a provoking, it is not welcoming it, but you must be ready to face it. That in the sense, not to react to it. Dukkha parinniya, all the suffering that is bound to come, you must be ready to face it with. That is the first place. And the second thing is, once you prepared, once you are ready to accept it, the face value of the truth of suffering is completely changed. If you are unprepared, it will completely steamroll you and you are succumbed to it. Once you go prepared, immunized with that preparedness, the truth is its impact is completely different. And at the beginning you will see to little bit of pains and little bit of unsatisfactory thing. If you go prepared, you see it has a different way. Ultimately, when the immunity come up to the certain level, any medium level, you can face it, and ultimately you will be ready to face all the high peaks and intensive things to undergo, and then only you become completed in your mind and contented. To be a soldier, of course you have to undergo a certain amount of rigorous training, but if you want to be a soldier in the special task force, you have to undergo special training, and it is the training that what the enemy is going to do will be given in the training. And then once you go through it, you will be a national asset, not like a normal soldier. So exactly the same way, every soldier cannot be a special task force soldier. Only the best out of the soldiers will be earmarked and hand-picked to take for this special task force training, and there what you are going to get is the most rigorous kind of a training what you can expect in the battlefield from the enemy. And then only you develop the full immunity and you become such an asset after. That is how whenever you change your attitudes toward the oncoming suffering, you will be a special task force training life, and each catastrophe in the life is reinforcing you. But I am again and again telling, you are not searching for, you are not inviting, if it is so, it is called self-infliction. That's one of the things Buddha at the outset he says it's a wrong path, self-indulgence or self-inflicting suffering. Both of them you have to avoid it. Then only the middle path comes. The middle path is non-reaction, non-assuming, and there are whatever the thing coming along your way is bearable. If you go, prepare. So therefore, the truth of suffering is going to completely make your attitudes toward the phenomena as and when it is arising. And when more and more you undergo the training, more and more the immunity power, your resistance, galvanizing power is increasing. So therefore, each and every moment is gainful. This is the truth. This is the bold thing you have to do. And when many people wait till the complete fulfillment of the second part of the suffering to claim that he has done it, and being so it is difficult, many are making theories to say nowadays it is impossible. Nowadays you can't take this task, nowadays you can't achieve anything, so therefore it is the wastage of time. So in a sense it is true, but being this is a gradual process, this starting from 0 to go up to the 100, as and when you are putting up your threshold value of the immunity, as and when you are developing your resistant power, you are the very person to understand, though it is not culminated, though it is not come up to the peak, slowly your comfort zone is enlarged. Many things you can accommodate. And that not only that, it develops your determination power, your mental power, and your willingness to undergo even more harsh kind of training. So gradually, it is one-to-one relationship. There is no magic in it. There is no mystics in it. More and more you undergo the training, more and more you become accommodable, and capacitization happens. So that may be the reason why the Mahasi Thero, who was one of the prominent teachers present there, of course recently passed away, in this era, presenting this Vipassana way, he says each and every Vipassana jnana or insight knowledge come pivoting higher and higher level of sufferings. So his disciple, who was my teacher, he told, therefore, in meditation courses, in the meditative life, when and where you feel pain or unsatisfactoriness, it's a good omen. The mind is preparing for the next high stage. So therefore, your attitude toward the dissatisfaction, failure, discomfort, pain, and everything has to completely different kind. That is how, once you come up to a certain level, your outlook, your view, your approach to the world is completely new. That is why after the Buddha come to know, this is the first truth in the world that is unshakable, it is throughout, it is equal. And what you have to do is to face it with accommodate it with your full faith. And once he achieved it, he told, Ubbe ananusutesu dhammesu chakku udapadi, jnana udapadi, panya udapadi, vidya udapadi, aloka udapadi. I, O monks, achieved such a state I have never heard of. Towards such a thing, my eye opened, my knowledge came out, a light appeared. That is to say, throughout the life, throughout the samsara, he also, just like other sentient beings, try to avoid suffering. So much so you increase it. The moment he tried to see it as it is, the suffering as it is, then it's changed, and it was a Dhamma, kind of a teaching I have never heard of before. So it was such a big difference by changing the attitude. So it is very difficult, this idea is very difficult to sell. No one is going to buy because everyone is searching for easy and quick ways for the self-indulgence and the sensuous pleasure. So that is why the Buddha has to come out with a productive and positive way of technique to put the others into practice. So in that sense, the mindfulness is the one is carrying all these qualities. When you are observing the in-breath and out-breath, or the rising and falling in the abdomen, or left leg and the right leg in the walking meditation, or when you are going to develop the mindfulness in the day-to-day activities, you are fully open to the arising phenomena. You are observing it without preconceived idea, without premeditated idea, without the value judgment, without the label. You just observe as it is. Or otherwise we can say, you are just trying to observe the phenomena, whatever may be, the beginning to the middle to the end. In order to see it, in order to practice it itself, you must have this basic idea of non-reaction, non-assuming, with whatever it is going to happen. As far as you are reacting, telling it is good, it must be, this is bad, it must not be like, you will never be a meditator, specifically the vipassana or insight meditator. Your mindfulness will not be fulfilled. But of course at the beginning it is very difficult because our mind is conditioned. We are in a rut. Anything comes, we have a label, either it is good or bad. So unless otherwise you go prepared, unless otherwise you go with your whole gamut of your trial and error mistakes earlier and take these all mistakes as your teacher, one day you will understand, if you are observing the phenomena as such without label, it is going to give a completely different result. So therefore, even though you are not reached complete final nibbana or emancipation, in order to at least practice mindfulness, you must have this kind of appreciation. The truth of suffering is nothing but suffering. But you are going to take it as a noble truth. That means you are not reacting. So when the in-breath and out-breath happens, you just observe, and there also you can understand the breathing process is happening through voluntary and involuntary muscles. If you do it, or if it's going to happen, it's a continuous process. And it's a neutral experience. So therefore, it is a good point to start with, because the untrained mind is always pleasure-seeking, always search for the good side. But the Buddha is asking us to see the neutral object and be continuous as long as possible with this in-breath and out-breath. When you go more and more, definitely within few minutes time, bodily pains, feelings, bound to arise. As and when it arises, what happens is you react, get more cushions, or you change your posture, or you sometimes change your object of meditation, sometimes you change your meditation method, sometimes you change your master, sometimes you change the meditation center. Everything you change, thinking by that you may achieve kind of a comfort, or you can avoid the pain. The first master, I had the first retreat when there was Mr. Munindraji. He told, even if you are sitting on a cushion of air, the pain is pain. You can't avoid it. Therefore, you must not, of course, try to torture yourself and go kind of thing. But at the beginning, to make yourself comfortable, to make loving kindness to your body, you have to give a certain amount of comfort. But whatever the comfort going to be, with due time, the pain comes. So when the pain comes, how to maintain the primary object? So there also you have to just employ, use some kind of patience toward the pain, and then try to be with the mindfulness with the primary object, or otherwise you have to change into the pain. And whenever you are observing the pain, painful feeling, definitely your undermining tendency of hatred going to muddle the situation, make your mind bewildered, muddle the situation, and you find the uniting and the adverting of the mind to the pain won't work. So therefore you have to understand, whenever you are focusing the attention to the specifically the painful feeling, the tendency, the undermining tendency is, it is not directly coming to face with you, but it come and completely disturb you, and it develop kind of a hate. So therefore it is being mentioned, as far as you are dealing with the painful feeling, as if a surgeon going to get a clinical distance with the patient, you have to get a distance from the pain. There is also a kind of an unreaction, kind of an unassuming thing. Take the pain as a raw material, as a subject matter to observe. That means you have to recognize this undermining tendency of the hatred. Otherwise, you will never see at least a mild kind of pain. When that mild kind of pain is handled, understood with this perversion of hatred, your natural attitude is to go for little higher pains, and you develop kind of a boldness together with the mindfulness in the primary object. How about little bit medium kind of pains? And there, if you can handle the medium kind of pain, definitely you have to accept your mindfulness has to be more mature. Mindfulness must be very steadfast. So likewise, slowly, when the more and more pain comes, you try to endure it. That means you are understanding the truth of suffering from 10% to 15%, 20%, 30% like. Slowly you are putting up your resistant power. And when the mental states come, the unwholesome thoughts like daydreaming, fantasizing, and all the past bad things, and when it comes to happen, they are also definitely you get discouraged as to a person like me who is Sanatan and maintaining these precepts and all the kind of, how can this kind of dirty thoughts comes? There also you have the same principle you have to apply. Look at it, not like me, it is not me, it is not mine, it is not my soul. This is the passing show of the thoughts and the external sounds. Each and everything is a irritation, every secondary object is a distraction. But anyway, if you put it in the positive way, it is putting up your resistant power. It is putting up immunity in your life. That is how you train this equanimity or indifference to the external factors. You are generally asked to maintain the primary object, yes. This in-breath and out-breath, but the sounds, the pains and the thoughts are bound to come. Of course, your status of mindfulness or the rating of the mindfulness basically decides not only through the primary object, it decides how many distractions you can handle with. More and more you go there, not only the sitting, in the walking meditation you will get higher amount of challenges. And when you go to the day-to-day activities, even within a meditative atmosphere in a retreat, it is higher challenging. When you go to the day-to-day normal activity, you're full of challenges. That is how you slowly comprehend the truth of suffering. So it is the matter of putting up your immunity level. It's a matter of resistance level. So when you go there, ultimately you will find there's no end to it. So much so, the sickness, old age, and the oncoming death even that be just a question paper in your education program. Slowly you entertain more and more challenging suffering, and ultimately you find there is no end to it. That is what it says, Dhamma has no end. You are unfathomable depth in it. Day by day you are putting up your resistant power. But it's a kind of a gradual training. It says, specifically in the path of purification, it says your ignorance about the suffering is usually camouflaging as a desire. It is called sadistic. You have an internal kind of a hatred. It is always you, knowingly or unknowingly, entertain sufferings. Whatever you earn with big suffering have a big value for you. Whatever earn with normal, you don't care. That is the way we appreciate kind of suffering due to our ignorance. Ultimately it appears like a medal. It appears like our sign of desire, sign of it's camouflage, and it's perverted, appear like a desire. So these kind of you will not understand unless otherwise you go a certain length, certain amount along this path. There also you can understand the suffering and the pain is partly straightforward, but many, specifically the deeper levels, are highly perverted. So therefore, early purification through the virtues and consciousness, views, and clearing the doubts, only you will understand when you go in deep and deep how you inflict suffering, thinking it is as it is something pleasure. In Western psychology, I am not much a master of that, so sadistic. You inflict suffering. And your desire, or perverted desire toward the pleasure, that means that maximize the pleasure, whatever the going to thing happen, you justify out of your ignorance. Your ignorance is such, whatever you are employing to maximize your pleasure, you justify yourself. But you can't justify when the neighbor is doing the same. You justify yourself. That is how the ignorance is working. So these two, the desire and the ignorance, is working very closely related with the suffering. But they are interplay, very difficult to understand. So at the beginning these complicated and perverted things are not much discussed, only asked just to maximize the develop mindfulness with the primary object, and whenever the secondary object happens, be patient and to deal them with this non-reaction and indifference way, and more you go there, only you find that disentanglement is not so straightforward, it is not linear, it is a matrix. There are many ways of strands running from all the directions. So when you go more and more further, you have to look at the problem as well as the solving as if someone else. As if you are looking at a problem from the outsider's point of view. And it is in the specifically related with the non-self characteristics. And the non-self means that you are dead sure that it is happening to you, and happening in the present moment, happening in the your very now. But anyway, you are trying your best to look at it as a something like an outsider. This is how the deeper layers, when you go into that, the perversion that is in Buddhism or its teaching, we call the latent tendencies, and when that comes into being, you will amaze yourself how cheating the mind is, how what a magician it is. Any concept can be a reality. Anything you condition, you appear like a reality. So sometimes you are not appreciating, but it is happening to you. When someone comes and he pointed out, definitely you will find fault with him. You may file a case against him telling that your human rights are being violated and all the kind. But when the mindfulness is going to show you no escape, you have to accept, and it will be a profundity of Dhamma. as if you are going in front of a life-size mirror, you can see your complete configuration. So if you complain your face is ugly, it is not the matter of mirror, that is your face is ugly. You can smash the mirror telling that it is showing something ugly. That ugly, mirror is really representing. So when you go deep into the mindfulness, what you see nothing but the mistakes of you, the errors of you, perversions of you. And ultimately when you go deep, then another principle comes into being that is exactly with the person sitting in front of you. Exactly with the neighbor. Because when you go more towards these perversions, with this already developed mindfulness and concentration, you are slowly exposing to the human mind. The universal consciousness, it's a one door, one opening is your own mind, your own likings and your own dislikes and your own personality. So you take it as an example and go into the deep, into the mansion, and when you go there, you find everyone is in the same boat, but hardly any person take it seriously. They always gloss over it, and instead they go for pleasure-seeking game. So at the beginning, even if you do not have much of the formulas, much of the Dhamma understanding and all the kind of profundity, the mindfulness is such, when you go deep, cut into the truth of suffering, the very truth of suffering that you avoid it and try to get rid of, is become the best teacher. So when you go deep and deep, invariably what you will understand is the cause for this suffering is nothing but the desire. That desire as a cause of suffering is the proximate cause, but at the distance the ignorance is working. Without the desire, ignorance cannot work. Without the ignorance, the desire cannot work. So at the beginning you will say, no, I am such a person with the least amount of desires, even then the suffering come and inflict me. So how to find the relationship? But when you go deep and deeper, you will understand. At the beginning, the desire, the tanha, is working as the desire for this materialistic pleasure, or it is called the tangible ones, or pleasure related with the senses, the seeing good sceneries, hearing good music, and smelling good smells, and having good taste, and comfort and luxuries, and pet ideas and kind of thing. But when you go further, you will see the desire for existence, the being, becoming, is not come under the physics. It not come under the sensuous level. So once you go through that, you will understand that underneath there is a bhavatanha, the existence. So always talking about the maintenance of this peace of the world, the constitutions of the society, and the maintenance of these cultural values and all the kind of thing. When and where you fail to see the truth in you, you exaggerate it into the society, and you say talking about the society and the well-being of the society is much Samaritan, and you gloss over your own business and be busy with the outside. That is how the existence comes to be. And you talk about high things, about others' well-beings, and that is ultimately what happens is this mere the interest about others, that it is vested interest. This is why the world is such a mess. If you are minding on your business, may or may not be you achieving, but soon you are going to mind others' business, you are messing up in such a situation, even the other person can't help you. Even I would tell you, even the Buddha can't help you. Even the Buddha come, and if you are honest and try to sort it out your limited capacity, he will be more than a helper. But if you are going to do just away from your skill level, finished. You don't know how the bhavatanha is going to trap you. And of course everyone will come and praise you, telling you are more that means not selfish, you are really thinking about the society and all the kind of thing, but ultimately what happened is you are losing to yourself. So that is how the tanha, even though you feel like not contributing it is naturally, it happens. And the worst is vibhava tanha. Whenever you can't achieve it, huge amount of hatred comes. You can't tackle it, of course. It's become complete perversion. As far as you are achieving something, only your pride and the conceit is increasing. Whenever you are not achieving, what happens is, internally there's a huge amount of negative emotions arises, and according to the Western psychology, whole set of mental illnesses are due to the hatred. Single factor of hatred. But you are, by your demeanor, you are very compassionate and thinking about others and kind of thing, but ultimately, internally there is a volcanic boil. So this is how the desire works, and you to see your own desire is, I think, the most difficult thing because of this gloss over. And the philosophers, when they are analyzing it, not by meditation, they say the materialistic kind of thing you perceive through your senses are known kama tanha, the sensuous pleasure. If you wish some more of the same thing, is known as bhava tanha. If you are expecting something other than what is expecting, yet another thing that we call vibhava tanha. So throughout our life it is intertwined, either sense pleasure through the sensory organs, or the maintenance of the same thing, or expecting something other than what is available, so naturally you hate the available thing. That is how the perversion is going to work. So even the Sigmund Freud, when he is explaining, he came little up to these 3 stages, but not when compared with the Buddhist teaching of the Buddha, is very at the Montessori level. So there are a lot of things for the Western psychologists to understand from the East. It's a comprehensive theory, how the suffering comes out of this desire. We are usually try to satisfy or to tackle only this materialistic one, only which is perceivable through the senses. It is just the superficial, it is just the tip of the iceberg. 9 part out of 10 is underwater. It works as the desire for the existence or annihilation. That in the Western psychology is the death instinct. Wherever you go, you are going with the death instinct. But it is not never, the subject is never talk in the civilized society. It says something to hide. But in the Buddhism, the Buddha completely revealed it, but unfortunate enough, in our commentary age, that part has completely lost. In the commentary, when you are reading the commentary, you never talk about vibhava tanha. Vibhava tanha means that nihilistic view, and that how the death instinct is working within oneself. So when you come to know these undercurrents, what is under the tip of the iceberg, what is happening, it is nothing specific to one particular person, exactly among all the people. So it appears like, of course, negative and sadistic and nihilistic and all the kinds of. When you go there, your knowledge is go far beyond the bounds and means, and it is understanding how the humans are working. And they, of course, decent people, they are completely under the restrainment, but these two undermining things, they can't understand. But once you understand your own trends, definitely you can see and read others' minds, how the trends are working. So that is the highest compassionate thing you can do, not just by giving the sense pleasure and the pleasure through the senses, That is only we can share in this materialistic world, but the best is to understand your own question and go into the deep to see how the perversions are working, how the existence and these nihilistic views are working within oneself, and then easily you will understand why the wars are inflicting in this world, why this religious sectarianism come and vehemently destroy the peace of the world. They are supposed to create a good world by the religion, but what happened is ultimately it became a complete chaotic situation. But in that sense, the understanding of Sutta suffering never come under religious studies. It's so pragmatic. You start with yourself, and when you go deep into that, you will understand it is happening to the desire. So the Buddha says, all our relationship is, all our benevolent feelings, all our welfare beings, everything based upon self-love. Everything based on the self-love. If you do not have that, you are nowhere, you have no any motivation. But you feel it is as is selfish to say, to be here and now. Instead you take unwanted business of giving peace to others, making plans for others, and taking others' suffering into you, and all the kinds of, but Buddha says it is never ending, as if you are bogged down into a muddy place and the boggy area. If you wish to raise someone others, definitely you will get bogged. The best is to get out yourself into a dry land and get up, help others to get out of that. So it appeared from the age is a very selfish life, and that is the only working method. So this worldly sense of this compassion, worldly sense of this social work and everything, good, but you have to be qualified. My Burmese master, he says, there are a lot of diseases, a lot of sick people available, and pharmacies full of medicines available. Why not you go and read the papers and the description in the label and start giving medicine? You can be like a doctor, because that everything is in the internet and everything is in the labels. And of course that is what happened in the remote areas of Sri Lanka also. There are a lot of boards telling that I got this and this MBBS and all the kinds, they're all fake. And what they do is go to the pharmacy and bring the medicine, read everything very nice and give. And it appears like a very compassionate, very helpful, because there are no doctors over there. So, but whenever maybe the government authority goes there, he will be the first culprit. So that kind of thing simply uses opportunities. With Dhamma you can't play this game. You can't be opportunist. You are the first person to get trapped because you are dealing with a high tension wire. And once you reach certain stage, if you are not helping others, that is what we call selfishness. The Buddha never been an opportunist, never been a selfish person. Until he come up to his maturity, he took the maximum time, interest and endurance to understand. And then 45 years, day in, day out, he started helping. So if you are following the same, it's good. It is the best you can do for the sasana, best you can do for the humanity, best you can do for you. But instead, if you are going to do helping others before help yourself and come up to certain this thing, you are almost trapped with this desire. Either kama-tanna or bhava-tanna or vibhava-tanna. So that is also just like understanding the truth of suffering, go deep and deep in that. Therefore the basic teaching is more related with concern with the kama-tanna, that is materialistic pleasure, which could be understood through your senses. So when you go there, you see what is under the iceberg, which has not come above the surface level. So therefore, the third truth is that very removal of this tanha is the cessation of it, and the Nirodha Satya. To the extent you understand how the tanha is working or the desire is working, so much so you feel guilty like. How pervertedly we are working with in a crooked way or straight way to fulfill our self-love, to fulfill our desire, and when you are honestly facing it, it is Buddha says that just mere see, just mere observation itself is enough to get rid of that. This, in a sense, same thing explained by the Einstein as a mathematician. He has mentioned when you are sorting out or solving the mathematical question, to the extent you understand the question, answer is there. Once you the question understood, you may writing the step by step, that is for the examiner to see. The by mere understanding question is the answer. Exactly this tanha, exactly this desire, to the extent you understand your tanha, the answer is there. Many people ask, what is the medicine, what is the technique, what is the formula, what is the secret in Buddhism? There is no secret. To the extent you understand tanha, so much so it is losing ground. In the Dracula films, whenever the Dracula comes, if you expose light, Dracula can't take it. Exists. Disappears. So much so, and in our day-to-day household life, specifically not here but in Sri Lanka, whatever you accumulate at the kitchen, if you are going to accumulate and keep it under the dark, damp place, it gets rotten and rusted, and the fungus will come and gas poisonous will come. Instead, if you put it under the sunlight, definitely it will change into the best fertilizer to call compost. As far as it is hidden inside the damp place, it is rotting. The musty, it becomes full of fungus. But soon it exposed to the sunlight, that is the best fertilizer. Likewise, whatever accumulating in your mind, if you expose to the light of mindfulness, it becomes nutritious. It's your Dhamma explanation. If you are going to hide it, if you are going to do perversions, it is going to create more and more poisons, more and more kind. So therefore, the Nirodha Satya, the third one, is not much important. Important thing is understanding the problem as problem. Or as a medical science, understand, that is diagnostic part. If you really diagnose it, the medicines are very straightforward. So hankering behind the Nirodha Satya or the liberation is useless if you do not take time to understand your own question, your own problem, your own friction, your own unsatisfactoriness. And that is very obvious. If you observe moment-to-moment mindfulness, that is what appears. If you are trying to avoid it and try to understand the truth, or try to understand the Nibbana, or try to understand Vipassana knowledges, it is not the proper way. So therefore, to the extent you understand the tanha, the cause of suffering, by itself it is eradicated. So therefore, dassana pahatapa, the Buddha explained, by mere observing, therefore the vipassana, the term vipassana, coming out of the root of passana. Passana means observation. See things as they are. As and when you see things as they are, this disentanglement happens. There's no distance, there's no time gap. So amazing. Many people, when you give them generosity, perform generosity, they expect to get the good benefits in the next life and kind of thing. That's a time gap. And some people think that soon I become a moralist and morally responsible, a few days and times I am going to get the benefit of. And once you develop the concentration, I am going to get so much of benefits in the next life or time to come. But in the Vipassana, the very moment you practice, the result is there. no time gap. That feature becomes more and more prominent when you go further and further. And there onward, you will never expect any result. Because that practicing itself is the result. Is releasing. That is with the undermining principle of just mere observing, just mere seeing the problem as problem, just by diagnosing it, that is the answer. So the day you come to that, the day you realize it, then only you will understand what are the ways and means to it. Otherwise there is no set ways and means. So therefore the final truth, that is to say the Noble Eightfold Path, is you will understand after you realize the Nibbana. But in this linear method, after you finishing the method, you will reach the result. But in the Four Noble Truths, after you reach the results only, you come to know the proper path. The presentation is as such. After the Nirodha Satya, the Magga Satya. Once you experience the liberation, then next day only you can say, I tried 1001 method, but this is the method liberated me. And that is the way you confirm that is not given by others, that was not an assimilated one. This assimilation and liberation happen in the same moment, and next moment you can theoretically explain this is the liberation, this is the path. So many people seeking the paths from the teachers. They expect some gods to come and explain the paths. And they think that's a secret path. There's no secret there. It is utterly trial and error method. It's utterly you are developing your method by your past mistakes. Of course, teachers have set some role models. They have put up some principles, but he can't overemphasize. Any teacher can't overemphasize your own mistakes. So your own mistakes are the real teacher, but sorry to say, early meditators or beginners always throw away their mistakes. They think it is a bad sign for their character. They wish to have complete sure and short method, so waiting. What happens if they are just throw away all their original lessons? So the moment you understand all your mistakes are not to be overemphasized, that is the only thing that will be helpful. You throw away, think it is negative, but the moment you try to give a value, that will become the real positive thing, and that is the mistake we have done in all throughout the samsara. We were ashamed of our mistakes, but on the day you understand the mindfulness, that will become your treasure. Because you are going to understand nothing but the truth of something. This explanation, the amount of mistakes indicate how profound it is. So much so, after mistakes and everything, the day you embrace it, then you understand the truth of something. There is no other magical formula. There is no other blessing from the others. So each and everyone has huge amount of course with the meditative sphere, mistakes. But everyone be ashamed of that till they understand the meaning of mindfulness. Mindfulness is that choiceless awareness. It is a mistake or achievement, both have the same value. Whether it is a pain or pleasure, it has the same value. Whether it is just or unjust, it has the same value. Otherwise, never you will assimilate the middle part. So therefore, these Four Noble Truths, in the sense it is a good saying, that is everything in a nutshell. But there is no fix, there is no frame set up there. It is also inviting you to develop inquiring mind and keep on vigilant, diligence, be mindful, whatever the way it comes. Being you are a virtuous person, you can't expect a special permission or special scholarship or special path. Being you with full of concentration, cannot you expect special bed of red roses. Even if you end out with a full-fledged wisdom, that wisdom must be to accommodate it, not to avoid it. So therefore, the understanding of the Four Noble Truths kept as the ultimatum, the culmination of your all knowledges. And once it is there, you will understand. The moment you fulfill the path is the achievement, and that is also you can declare after the achievement. So that is why Buddha says, anyone who take this kind of a mindfulness-based path, and if he practice even up to 7 years, definitely he can reach the complete liberation. If there are any residues, he will go up to the third level, that is non-returners level. And then onwards he reduce. He says, leave aside 7 years, even if you diligently and vigilantly practice mindfulness for 6 years, or 5 years, or 4 years, or 3 years, 2 years, 1 year, 6 months, 5 months, 4 months, 3 months, 2 months, 1 month, half a month, or 1 week. He says that is possible. And then concluding, he says, what I made a statement telling at the beginning, this is the only way to for the certain benefits of the mindfulness as to the purification of the being and the overcoming the limitation and suffering and the pain and grief, to understand the path and to the final liberation. That is what the meaning of what I mentioned. So we were for the last 8 days try our best to get the theory understanding, some kind of deductive and rational understanding, and leaving everything aside, some little understanding of the practice or put into practice. So all these three has to work together, then only we will slowly understand and be ready to accept as and when it happens. And the more and more you face it, unassuming way, non-reaction way, before you come to the final liberation or achieve the full-fledged liberation, you start to feel the smell, the taste of the liberation then and there. And there is no other assurance, there is no meter for the moment, for my understanding, to check whether you are progressing or not. And whatever the person going to tell you that you are progressed or you are regress, these are all nothing but words. That your relaxation, your readiness, your immunity, your resistance is the one, and it is only be tested to get the time. So therefore, be mindful, mind your own business. Thank you very much for listening. So we have taken 1 hour and 14 minutes, 15 minutes. So that is today is the final talk and finishing. So tomorrow we have to stop the session after the discussion. So before finishing the day's work, I invite if there are any questions or statements or anything to tell, we can take it. We discuss it openly. Otherwise, we can go for the final chanting to mark the day's program.
So, Kama Tanha, Bhava Tanha and Vibhava Tanha, when we talk about that, Kama Tanha is like indulgence of the senses. May you please explain the Vibhava, not the Vibhava, Bhava Tanha. Bhava Tanha is looking for the
existence. To maintain that, we have a huge role to maintain this culture. We are Sinhalese Buddhist. We have to maintain it. So we are taking so much of pain. Whatever pain it is happening in the natural course. And when you come to the America, there may be another constitution, so everyone is fighting. It is, we never expect it is a constituted one. And the Tao means the natural flow, it is whatever the constitution, that is what is going to happen. So we will never give up. We say, no, these cultural values must be preserved. Of course, it is good if it is possible. So Buddha says it is just your dream. So therefore, if you can maintain, and that is what the specifically so under the topic of vested interest, it's the worst thing. Vested interest, they explain, whenever someone develops inferiority to oneself, he takes interest about others. That's the way they close soul. Those who have boldness, they have the direct approach, they take up the present moment and take up one's own thing. And once he achieves, of course, he is doing helping. But all the others have the perversions. They take no more than my thing. I have to take care about my nation, my children, my parents, my teachings, all the time. So it is just like alcohol addiction. People take alcohol in order to get rid of the present moment. So this is also yet another addiction. So whole people, no one can complain about the drug addiction because everyone addicted. One or to the other. So how can we say only the drug addiction is bad? It is also yet another addiction. Everyone is in addiction. So Buddha says, feed it off. And for those who are talking about the maintenance of the samsara, definitely it is a necessary. But you have to really put it in the proper place. Am I taking it as a refuge just to avoid the present moment? Just to avoid the self-interest, we take interest of other people. So maybe I am unsocial, so going against the social values, I am sorry because you are asking, I have to take it. And ultimately ending up with Vibhavatanna, you kill the very same person, you compassion. You develop the compassion, you don't know which point your compassion is going to take the other way around, you are going to kill. But all the time you find fault with your known people, close by people. You never find fault with the unknown person. And even if you do good over, what matters? You get always upset with the mistakes of your known and close and nearby one. So that indicates your self-love. You are representing, wherever may be, you are representing your love to yourself. And that is at the perversion, like maintenance of the social norm and kind of thing. Or otherwise, not to develop hatred and all the kind of thing. These good ideas, but unless otherwise you train your mind, these are just words. That is the bold statement of the Buddha, accept the truth as truths. Don't try to gloss over it. By gloss overing, you are reaching nowhere. But they are very bitter. Just like a concoction in Ayurvedic medicine. And this is the thing, you have Dhammajiva, the drink. So whatever the sugar coating you are going to give, actually you have to drink it. Because it is unavoidable truth. You can't gloss over it. By gloss over you make postponing, and not directly tackling, you are trying to go through the indirect ways, and ultimately you are cheating yourself.
When that happens, one day, when because of the self-love, you try to find for the others and create problems in the other souls, among other souls now.
So in Sinhala, I can easily say, when the he has mentioned, Panditiyo Samadhika Mehekarati, Atipanditiyo Samadhi Ehe Mehekarati. I don't know how to put it in English, because it's very difficult. Atipanditiyo is always missing. You always think mine is no problem. I have to do with the others. But when you go back home, it's an utter mess. That is why they are thinking about the others. So don't try to be Atipandita. Just try to be mere Pandita and just be mindful of your own self. And that is the best you can do to the society. And that is the best you can do to the sasana. That is the best you can do to yourself. But it is not a sellable idea. Very difficult to sell because people want to have a karma past. They want to have the glossing over, and that is what we call the literature. You never tell the truth in literature. Always gloss over. It's just an exaggeration. So Buddha, of course, in the teaching, a lot of exaggeration with others there because he is talking with the sentient beings. But if you go to the direct teachings, no two words, it directly says it's an utter suffering, whatever the things you are going to do. And if you are to accept it, you have to mind your own business. The realization happens only one dimension, that is here, now, here. Whenever it is going there, it is just utter mess. Realization happens only in one dimension, so you have to come to it. It is difficult because so much in the samsara we have been amused towards the past, future, other people and other places. But even then, even though aeons of time you have been misdirected, the chance to come into the present moment is completely fresh and open. You can come, any person can come to the present moment. That is not being covered. That no one can cover. Even the Creator God can't cover. Even the Satan can't cover. That is our endowment. Prime endowment, whatever the commits, mistake you have done, to be mindful here, no one can say you can't be mindful now because of that. That is what the Buddha says, that is the endowment. Please look into that, fulfill it, take the opportunity, and other all will be sorted out. That cannot be erased, that can be removed as far as you are a human. Even if you have committed anantaya karma, if you can keep the mindfulness, you are shortening the distance. That is sure. So this mindfulness is in that sense, it says Moha Patala, cutting the Moha Patala, and throughout the samsara we accumulated a lot of ruts, lot of likings and disliking. It is in such a mess. But even that mindfulness can cut through completely. Just like you cut trunk of banana with a good sword. Chuck it. And then you are completely Buddha. Completely fresh. For next moment you will be again putting all the death and kind of thing, thinking, oh, whatever, maybe only one moment I had that bliss and again I lost it and I am meditating, I can't go to that bliss, that kind of thing. But it indicates the potential. It's possible. So that is the way, the positive thinking. That is the way the human must be trained their mind. And then you understand whatever the other person do, it can't reach this present moment. The negativity cannot reach the present moment. It comes and falls at a certain level. But if you go and accept it, of course you can suffer. And they have no power to come into the present moment. It is such a potential that you get moved to understand only the human as beings have that potential. Even the gods, even the Brahman, no one can have, unless otherwise they train in the human plane. Human plane is the only plane you can start this, develop this. You have to come up with this level, and even once you come, if you are not practicing it, what a wastage. If you are not going to that dimension, it's a utter wastage of time.
But that was possible within the Buddha's period only.
There is, you have to listen for someone. Never you will think this as the way. Even when someone says you accept at last, after your whole rational thinking, after your whole reasoning and wisdom and everything is disturbing you, preventing it, postponing it, at last only will accept it. Once accepted, you will see it's not a shortcut. It is never, the Buddha says, never single person can create by himself. This we will never appreciate it. And it is always has to be a listener. Someone has to tell you how to, and then only you have to accept it and do the full-fledged idea. Then it is short as 7 days or maximum as 7 years. And in Bodhirajya Sutta it says if you are well instructed morning, evening you can get liberty. That is the way that Hariyam Gattu Girime Kamikila Gattu, I don't know how to put things in. You test it and see if it is correct, you can pay later. Such a way Buddha is selling this idea. It is so much of assurance.
Sometimes can you explain the Bhavadhamma?
Bhavadhamma is expecting another one instead of this one. So that means you have a hatred to the existing one, therefore you expect something. So, මේකම තව එකක් කියනවා භව තණ්හා, මේක වෙනකොට වෙන එකක් කියනවා විභව තණ්හා. That indicates something you have negative to the existing one. You don't say because it is not etiquette enough. You are not manners enough. So you say no, leave it. I need another one. That indicates you have a indication to this one. That is why the committing suicide. He says the last one is the committing suicide. So every destructive idea coming out of this Vibhava Tanha is fertilized by Bhava Tanha. So they are interchanging at any moment, you don't predict it. So when you are euthanasia, and there it says that you pay any amount for your dear one to maintain, and ultimately it becomes, doctor says it is impossible to maintain, only run by the machine, and at a time you have to decide. And it is, you are the very person says you unplug it. So where that compassion change into this brutality, no one knows. And it is not recognized as a brutality also. So this is how this compassion is the danger of the compassion. This is Deosa Mukhena Karuna Vancheti. The compassion means for the undeveloped person, it's a kind of a hatred. Behind there's a hatred, shadow. But he never talks, society never talks, he says, no, he's such a compassionate person. But immediately he can change, which is the other part, like the schizophrenic, destructive. When people say it is something mystic, how that happens? Because they appreciate the compassion, but they fail to see the shadow. And whenever the mindfulness, how to call this, metta, loving kindness, the desire is camouflage. That is why when the profession may be different, whenever you are counseling and the other person is going to heal, definitely he is developing love to the person who has done the counseling, and ultimately definitely will marry a psychopath. It is natural. From morning to evening you listen to the psychiatric person, the best person you relieve, he will come and hold upon you, and you will mind, I am such a master and I recovered that pretty person, he will be throughout my savior, and then ultimately want to marry, then when you come to you are married a psychopath. Definitely. That is how it happens. So
Swaminathan, Kama Tanha arises due to craving. Bhava Tanha arises...
Tanha means the craving. Kama Tanha is the name for one part and parcel of the life craving.
And Bhava Tanha, the other one, Vibhava Tanha is due to hatred.
No, Vibhava Tanha is a perverted form of Bhava Tanha.
Bhava Tanha.
But Vibhava Tanha play in the dual game.
Yeah.
The Bhava Tanha is appearing as a good because you are talking about the prevalence of the existence. To maintain the social code, and it's very nice. Whenever you fail, you are the very destructor of the self. And then the society comes and says, how such a person can do such a damage? The Buddha says, sum total is negative. When you put together, it is negative. But Bhava Tanha is everyone appreciating. Everyone says, we have to talk for our nation, we have to maintain the cultural values and maintenance. Yes, good. Whenever it fails, what happens is, enormous amount of hatred comes. You can't control it, and ultimately you have become completely monster.
Is it these girls and boys, when they get after the affairs, when the boy turns or girl turns away, one will go and kill the other one?
Not only that, simply you can say, while you are making love and after marriage, love is completely different. It's a universal truth. Before the marriage, love is completely positive. If you reach the sun and the moon, he will come and get you. But after that, what happens?
No suns, no moons.
Huh?
No suns, no moons.
Yeah.
Suns will come sometime.
Sons and daughters.
So they become the ever hateful character within living in the same house. And the one person is very critical. He says, these are the cancers in the human society developed by so-called civilization. Because in a day if you take number of registration of marriage, overcome by a number of requests for divorces. One person married once and divorced 3 times. And it's an utter mess. Among the animals, no marriage and no divorces. See, we are so lucky. The next cancer is the money. We created money in order to facilitate the success of the transaction. Ultimately, money controls everyone. So these things are the 2 landmarks in the civilization. And to talk generally, money is the real mean for the transaction. The marriage is the real bondage for the family life and all the kind of things. But you know the person who has undergone it, the love before the marriage and after the marriage is such a difference. Love before the marriage is full of Bhavatanha. After the marriage, Bhavatanha. So if you look at it, and it is a profound thing, it's a very common prevalence in the life, unless otherwise you see it with this proper perspective. It is not such a profound, it is a very common thing. But when it happens to you, completely different story.
So how do you overcome that?
Huh?
How do you overcome that
See
type
this
of
as things. See things as it is not your mistake, it is not my mistake, it is not the mistake of my talking. It's acceptance is why you gloss over. If you're going to marry, but if you're going to say after the marriage we have maybe some conflict, no what harm? Can be. And each and every relationship is a punishment. It's a hook. Each and every relation, when you become one-man army, you're omnipotent, only 100%. But you don't feel like have to have something yet another better half. And Buddha says, Nissarana, Anisivasa Chalitana. Whenever you lean against something, you are going to get shocks. Whenever you are independent, nothing to shock. But we feel, when we are shocking only, that is why we are going to lean against something, it is steadfast. But the Buddha says, by leaning against something, by depending against something, only you get the shocks. When you are alone, in aware, no shocks. But we feel it is no go, no, it is monotonous, it is very boring, it is very cornered-like, therefore we have to have a partner. And he take care about the balance of the suffering. So that's why this keep as long as possible unto oneself, but it's very difficult because everyone's psychology and health is not up to this task. But if you take in terms of the present moment, then it is a possibility. Then you can say, out of the day, you take at least 10-15 minutes to try to keep at least mind in that particular time, here now. And when it is increasing, you will understand that is the real balance. Real healing at that time. Other time, whatever you do, ever end up with the disappointment. Therefore, it says all the appointments are ending up with disappointment. Therefore, better to have an appointment with the disappointment, so we will never get it. You expect the disappointment, then anything goes. So that is one way of expressing the truth to someone. Have an appointment with the disappointment. Then even the disappointment comes, you are prepared. That is accepted. That is the yogi, that is the scout, that is the special task force soldier means ready to anything. Never expect, never believe even the mother and father. You see that they are conditioned people. So how can we? You have to be ready on your firm ground. Otherwise, if you are believing so much, so you are losing the anchorage.
Why does the Lord statue have a sun above his head? Why does the Lord statue have a sun above his head?
So you were talking about the middle in the Buddha. Both the Buddhas in both the sides have no sun. When you go to Nissarana, we have a big statue and there are no sun. Some has, some has. is not there, it's not on the intrinsic part of the Buddha. It's out of the respect. We put that is glory, aurora. Right, so. But, when you meet the Buddha, if you happen to meet the Buddha, the Mitteya Buddha, then you may not see it. You will see it just a human. And there's one camera developed in Russia, so Kirlian camera. It can see the aurora. Aurora. And there they say that when you take a photo, if you have any sicknesses, according to the aura you can understand this part is black, this part is red. So it is, everyone has a sun. Everyone has a kind of its own aura.
Some people say Sai Baba has the aura of some sort of mauve color or something like that.
Some people eat the best medicine in the world. Lot of cases he has been fighting to shoot him. So all the kinds of big figures have both the sides, the good and the bad.
So I heard this thing that if you, after the Buddha Pujava, if you eat some Buddha Pujava, there's healing powers or something?
Huh?
There's healing powers or something? Is there such a thing?
Do you feel after the Buddha Puja?
Sorry?
Do you feel the healing power after the Buddha Puja?
No. After the Buddha Pujava, like, you know, when you're taking it to like give to like, I've heard like to Hingane or a beggar or to animals. But then I've also heard that if you eat that yourself, then it has healing powers. Like it has healing powers.
Of what?
Buddha Puja.
Eating the Buddha Puja.
I think probably you
Instead of throwing, you eat it.
Have you eaten it?
No.
Please eat and see. It's such a simple thing. Why you asking me? It's such a easy thing. You asking me what's the taste of apple. Put a piece on your tongue and
But it's this
no, I can't tell because I am not believing on that side. I am not believing. But it's such a simple thing. Why don't you take few days, once one complete week and see whether there's any kind of thing. Why you are keeping always it is at the question. It's such a pragmatic thing. Put yourself free. So let me not ask, oh, Venerable Bhante, how do you feel that? What is Bhante? But you can have, it's a great approachable thing. Do that kind of experiment. What is it? Otherwise this life is. That is what you call noble quest. Arya-Parmesana. You put yourself and see. And then you can talk with your own direct experience.
So I want to say, have there been any priests beforehand who are priests, but they also keep their profession, but they don't handle money?
I think that true to time.
As in, they don't handle money, so you don't have the whole ashava, but if you like your profession and you kind of want to help people, then like who keep their profession and you know with that, then although you don't handle the money, maybe you could like have put the money towards like orphanages or whatever, and also practice like meditation, like Buddhism, like priests, like bhikshuni.
Even that pragmatic examples.
Yeah.
Of course, they should have that, not only in Sri Lanka, in the Burma, in Thailand. But they never come to the mass media. They were showing off. They are not in the talking of the people. They do their thing and they always hiding themselves. That's the true people. But coming out it's a kind of a mass media.
So it's possible to do both.
What do you mean?
To practice, to be a priest and also to work, but like kind of, just because, you know, we've always heard, like in the Theravada Buddhism, that it's like always, if you become a priest, you leave that all behind. So without that, like...
No, that your question is not clear. You have to understand what the vocation of the monk. The vocation is completely deliberate to the others. Monks are living on others and helping others. But you have to develop a figure telling that they are completely cut off from the society. Buddha says it is none of the monk business, and you have to daily recite, you are depending on others. Sathipattana jivikati abhinnam paccayati rabba. You have to understand your robe given by someone, your food given by someone, dwelling given by someone, medicine is given by someone, so it is part and parcel of your society. Therefore, by not doing mistakes, not killing, not stealing, he is helping the best than giving some materials. So therefore, that when you take the precepts of morality is not to do something, not to do bad things. Not to do bad things is to best help to the people, best help to the society, best help to the nature. So monks are the full-fledged helpers. I don't know that there may be some other part in your question.
As in, going back, I'm so sorry with the time. Going back to the question of how Buddhism equals meditation equals mindfulness. Mindfulness, completely, yeah. But meditation with becoming a priest and everything. And so is it possible to like do meditation as a priest and everything and kind of do a career at the same time?
So that is that you have to define the right vocation.
Say,
the vocation of a monk.
But what about if you have a vocation that you like?
That monk has its own vocation.
You can't do both part-time.
What kind of thing you're referring?
Yeah, exactly. You must be referring that you are working with a company as a company priest or something like that.
Or maybe even like, I don't know, a physician and a priest at the same time, like...
That is why that your definition of a the profession, how to define what you mean by the profession. That I am also doing a profession. Who the hell can say no?
But you kind of like to give up partly on that whole Gihi there.
No, I am completely Gihi. What is the difference from you and me? You find my genal difference or my clothes or anything?
No, but you live in the forest and you're like, you know...
Then now I am in America. I am in
But it's like, you know...
That is, you are going to impose me and I am not going to take it. No, never. You can't do it.
No, but it's...
Only with me. Any person can be succumb to your kind of phrasing and putting me as a Boros monk is completely... No, I am a full-time person. I am more professional than you. I am challenging you. I am more professional than you. Any object, any subject, any profession tell me, I show you. Monk is the first person ready for anything. Arahant means the qualified person. We are trying to be Arahant. Arahant is the Arahant. Arahant means the ability, the qualification, the potential. The Buddha is an Arahant. Arahant Samma Sambuddha. So we are the disciple of the Buddha, whether you are a monk or a nun. They never mind. We try to be full-fledged, take the maximum capacity of our brain power. So for that you never say this is none of monk's business. If that is the case, you are disqualifying you by becoming a monk. You are disqualifying by becoming a meditator. No. It's a full-fledged open range. But you know, when you are learning a driving license, you can't do it in the busy places. You have to go to a silent place and get the license. Once you got the license, you have to go to the busy places. Otherwise, you can't get a job like a chauffeur. So while you are practicing, you have to go to a silent place and do it. Once finish it, you have to be with the other people. Otherwise, what is the use? So therefore, that your definition is you have to get clarified. Monks are their own profession. The vocation of the monk is questioned by that the book I referred in the the work of the kings, Mr. Seniratna, is asking what is the definition the Buddha given, and you are going to adjust it, it's completely different. But if you know the vocation properly, more than any lay person, you are open to all the range of experience, range of skills, range of sufferings, and therefore our life is so rewarding. It's ever young. And my university batchmates and others are now, we are retiring. I am now beginning of my learning. Still I am at the rate I am learning. And the way my English is happening, I can't imagine. Because I tried up to the advanced level class to get just a S pass in English. It's impossible. But after when I am traveling and talking with the people, I don't know how it happens. You will never do it in 2-3 lives even. If you are as far as you are doing a lay profession, if you become a monk, the full range. Fight to become a monk and try.
So I'm asking, so like, just because I'm wondering, so you can, if someone's to kind of follow the path of like, okay, does their profession but doesn't do the whole family life thing, and then decides to give it all up and then go and meditate, like, I mean, meditating throughout the whole time, like mindfulness and everything, but then the whole, like, trying to attain enlightenment side, if, like, say they try to come, like, to Nissarana, Vanaya, or like, to, like, just completely give up that whole side of life, is that even feasible?
So that is, I am representing it.
But later on in life.
Huh?
Later on.
Later on?
Yeah. Like, because you left at 36, right?
No, that is why I went to the Nissarana and full cut off for 20 years. Possible. Is that the question?
Yeah, but maybe more like 50.
I didn't.
Maybe.
I think she wants to join at the age of 50.
No, that is what
to
you
become a
think.
monk. I think that's the unled question.
She wants to work as a doctor and then become a priest later. That's what you want, right?
I mean, that is directly you can ask a question, no problem. Even without becoming a nun or a priest, you can do the task. And becoming a monk or nun is just the external this thing. And you think by becoming a monk you are going to get so much of endowment and so much of powers and so much of solitude, and nothing you get. Nothing you get by becoming a monk. That's why when at the beginning, when I'm practicing mindfulness, I was in the university studies and I went to the priest, that Australian monk, and I told, I feel like becoming a monk. He told, that is the worst thing for you. If you are going to become today monk, today, tomorrow you are going to dissolve. When you go to the priesthood, you will understand the dirtiest part of the human life. Any religion. So therefore you are not going to get the solitude. You are not going to get the job what you are expecting. You see all the corruptions in the politics, more than the laity. You have to be heavily prepared for that. So therefore don't think that this or it's an endowment to become a monk. It's a challenge because the monk is really representing the Buddhism. But it is by becoming a monk what you get. You get the external, you get the bald head and the robe. That's all.
Care about life and just
No, that when you go and see the monks jokers what they're doing after becoming monk, they are indulging self more than maybe. And when you look at that, it's a complete representation, a robe after the behind the robe. So when you go there and see, and not only the Buddhism, it's well recorded in the other religions also, you can see by becoming monk, what is the role model they have given. Completely we have lost it. And what is left behind the role model and the example also of the robe. So as far as you are laity, you have a very high grade. about the monks and kind of. But when you go there, it's different. And something like that. Before the marriage, you think the married people are something different class. Now after marriage, don't you come to understand, you are taking all the burden of the humanity into your shoulders, and that is nothing much than the bondage. So therefore, don't think that becoming a monk, that one person came from Anuradhapura, and he was running two successful hotels, Sri Lankan hotels, right? And he was well-to-do and everything, and ultimately he got completely bankrupt, and he was so upset about the samsara, and therefore he wanted to become a monk. Then I told you are completely disqualified. You go run back and run the hotel again successfully, 4 hotels, then only you become qualified to become a monk. If you can't run a hotel, how can you be a monk? It's a bigger challenge. So you are directly boldly looking at the truth of knowledge. And if you even can't be a successful doctor or successful professor, mind you that you are completely disqualified to become a monk. So therefore, to master your whatever you do, and while mastering what you do, understand is the samsara, the humanity.
Not about success, but about just reach a point where you think that, okay, I've experienced this, I've helped as much as I've helped quite a bit, but now I'd like to kind of focus on...
No, that is, I would say, escapism. This they are explaining the escapism. Don't take monkhood as an escapism. And if it is so, you are really misrepresenting monkhood, you will be utter in a mess. Very sour taste you will get, never just so sweet taste. So once you become successful in your present profession, it's a good sign that you will be a good monk. That is what Venerable Dhammajiva told me. Do whatever thing comes, show your colors. Be versatile in every job. Then only you can go for the next. If you are saying that I have done enough and then I have to take my time off, and that means completely what you have done is an utter failure. That is why you think that becoming a monk ought to be a package of the solitude, package of the concentration, package of the mindfulness, package of the moral restraint, nothing. So therefore, do the best what is available in your hand, and it is qualifying you, reinforcing you, makes you more mature. Not two jobs different. Everything is equal. Everything is equal. Whatever may be, you have to develop the professions. You have to develop your own mistakes and your own trial and error. Ever you are becoming mature, ever you becoming fit for any culture, fit for any climate, fit for any people. And it is possible as a lay person as well as a priest. There is no such a special privilege over there. I am not, of course, not discouraging you to become a monk or nun. Very happy, but I am sure you will utter failure. The way you handle the present way exactly represent when you become a nun. So therefore, do the best in the present way, and it is a question paper for your next exam. You must be happy. You must be contented. You must be professional. That's the job that you are doing now. Am I attacking you, or you feel that I am answering your question?
What?
Buddhism is not any for escapism. Priesthood is nothing to do.
Not escapism, but just, you can kind of... I don't know how to describe it.
Escapism.
Escapism.
Yeah. That's how you can't describe.
You can't escape escapism.
That's a good answer.
That's right. That's right.
That's correct.
When Nissarana told that whatever the business, whatever the task, whatever the responsibility you have, if you do mindfully, then and there you are relaxing. Each and every moment you do mindfully, whatever the complication things you are doing, you do for the sake of doing, then they are relaxing. So whatever the profession you do, whatever you will be a mother, you will be a father, you will be a farmer, whatever, if you do it wholeheartedly, you are getting the understanding of the humanity, getting the understanding of the nature of the world, the suffering. And that is everywhere present equally. It is not particularly in one particular place or one particular profession or one particular time, no. It's a matter of how you embrace it, how you accept it as it is. Then the world is like a university. The universe is a university. You can learn any course. The present your profession, what is already given, is not a hindrance. It is just one window. There are a lot of other windows you can do. And becoming a monk is, of course, it's a good challenge. But you must be prepared. You must understand the vocation before going better. But many are going with not that understanding. Some are successful, but majority are failure. Because they don't know the vocation.
Can you be, like, say, can you be just meditating and learning? Do you have to give lectures?
Definitely, that is what I did in my university. I had full success. Otherwise, I am not a good person to educate my family, 11 members. All of them are double promotion people. I am the most idiot person in the family. They told you better go and work with the farmer, my father in the farm. But lucky enough, I had no girlfriends. All the other had the girl, already they married early life. I went on because no one happy with me, so boy, I will keep on turning. And all of a sudden in the middle of the university, I went to university because of the district-based selection. Otherwise I never go to the university. I got only 3 subjects out of 4. And at that time 100% district-basic selection. And Kandy is the well-facilitated area but least amount of resource. I came from Kandy. So I went to the university. And once I go to the university, I told that I am doing agriculture, I am coming from the agriculture family. So what to learn? That is, the professors never go to the field. They are just talking about the books. So all of a sudden that when the Dhammajiva came and he introduced the mindfulness, then only everything came organized. The communication, the language and the present, everything. So that he told that don't take it. Don't try to accelerate it, just let to do it. And still I am telling, and just at the beginning, and so much of learning per day for me, more than any of you. I am assuming again and again the beginner's mind. I feel so relaxed, I never feel professional, I never feel as a teacher, I never feel as an instructor for someone. I feel the fellow meditators. So I did all the studies while meditating. Not even family members knows that I have changed my mind to the religion. My friends I met after 30 years in Melbourne, they never believed such a culprit become a priest. Such a culprit become a meditation instructor. They can't believe. The day I was after the second year in the university, and the worst case, causing so much of trouble to the others. It's a hobby. So now, and I never express anyone that I have a religious belief. No, I kept it as close as possible. And my dearest sister, she still hates me telling I have not told her that I am going to renunciate. So she's most love, most me. And because I know if she comes to know, that is my best impediment. And she was very happy I am a rascal and definitely I will marry and I have all the kind. She was under that, but my friends were completely meditating. But it's in a secret. When I am practicing and sitting, I close the door, lock the door. And when you go out, I play like a mad. And when I come to the room, I completely maintain all the kind of things. It's a double game, but for the sake of good. It's possible. And if you are accusing, I will tell you, girls in Sri Lanka is not much privileged. They are looking from the different viewpoint, and therefore, the present day, among the young boys and the girls are equally in par with the boys to understand the truth of suffering. I mean, it's the game, joke, but least chances from their parents to practice meditation. We are not happy with the young girls are practicing meditation. We just do anything after the marriage. Till that it is our responsibility to give it to someone. It is like the sale of the glasswares. Before the business, it must be broken. After the business breaking, no problem. So parents are just like keeping the glassware shop, as far as the girls are concerned. But the boys have a better chance. I am privileged in that sense. So therefore, there you have to be tactful, not to show off your virtues, not to show off your qualities. You just behave like a common. And meanwhile, whenever you have the chance, you make it maximum. And whenever you have the normal friends, you share utmost. You say, this is what happens and how can you do? I am having this problem and that problem. But whenever you working with other people, you never show that you are a virtuous person, you are talking about concentration or wisdom. No. But that tactic must be there. That is, I would say, common sense. It is never Buddha not going to teach that. You must have. You must have not to make repercussions with the normal trend of the life, normal trend of the society. Leave the society running like that. And take the leave of yourself, and whenever you have your own time, don't compromise. Do the utmost maximum to make the present moment possible. Present moment, the present moment.
Gandhi,
Yeah. Now it is 9:30. Yes?
why does monk need to be bald?
Mine's to bald.
Yeah.
Just to get rid of that hairstyle problem.
But why nobody wears hair? No other monks don't wear hair.
So he had the hair, the African hair, you have seen that all the
Yeah.
curly hair. It is so close to this thing. So monks are usually free from hairstyles.
And why monks don't touch money?
So it is if you are touching money, always you try to be happy with the seeing things, hearing things.
When you're rich, then sometimes people kidnap you because they want to have a lot of money. Because like bad people want to kidnap people because they want the money.
So be careful. You are the people, lay people are the people subject to kidnapping. Once when you kidnap, you will be very happy. He will show, yes, this is what all I have. So you are talking against your argument.
Yeah, you
are succumbed to kidnap if you have treasurable, valuable things. Otherwise, what is the use of kidnap? Very well and good. And the very nice story is there. The Kurunagala is one of the towns in Sri Lanka, and they are waiting for the bus. And the last bus, 9:30, 10. And people are rushing to catch the last bus, and bus was a small one, so one monk also waiting, and he found he can't do a fight. Was everyone rushing and ultimately went into the bus and in the footboard and hanging, and bus started going. And that monk is left over. And you have to know that over there what he did was he found a broom and swept the bus hold in place and put his underrobe extra and starts it. And then the police constable, after seeing everything, he has come to the monk out of compassion and told one thing, you see, Sri Lanka is a Buddhist country. You being a monk, you would have given your due seat. But they never concerned about that. Ultimately now you have to sleep it here. And the bus has gone. So till tomorrow you have to believe it, nothing to worry. Even if I go to the temple, this is the way I sleep. So I find it very different. Don't sympathize about that. When you go there also, I lay down my robe and sleep over there. It's just even it is the bus sorting place. If you have any kind of assumption to say that people must consider me as a monk or that, then utter suffering. It's easy that this is what, even if I go to the temple, this is for, unless otherwise the police constable come and ask, you do express even that. Wherever you go, you get the best out of the existing thing and be happy. That is the manku. And if you have money, it will never allow you to go for this kind of a compromise. You always think, why don't you go to hotel? You ask this and that. But if you have no money, what to do? You are happy with that kind of situation, or you think it as a catastrophe?
So-so.
Huh?
So-so.
So-so. I think that both of you have to be careful because underneath the seed is there. that is why all the questions are.
Yeah, seed is there.
So, look, mind you, I am a senior man, so you have to come and put a certificate. You don't antagonize with me. Okay, now it is almost 9:30, that is almost 1 hour.
2 hours.
And 1 hour overtime.
Yeah, 1 hour.
So we will chant the recite the stanzas and share all the merits. How wonderful we are coming from different cultures, different parents and different place and sharing like the same family and the same vibration. So therefore those who have organized this kind of retreat and those who have seenly, unseenly, give their whole good idea only we are entertaining this present moment. So if you are at all making any kind of wholesome deeds, these whole merits, may all the seen and unseen beings share each other equally. And if our parents and all the other relatives are here, they will be the happiest. But we representing all the relatives, we equally share the merit with all the near and near ones. And finally, with all the skillfulness we develop, may we attain this final goal in this very life without much of difficulties, that is to strengthening our objectives as well as reminding our objectives. That is the meaning of this stanza we are going to say. With that idea, we will start with Dhammajiva. Ittavatajanami sampratam punya sampratam sakti devanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ittavatajanami sampratam punya sampratam sakti bhutanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ittavatajanami sampratam punya sampratam sabbe sattanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Akasatta Jumata Devanaga Mahitika Punyantam Anumoditva Sirakrakantu Sasana. Akasatta Jumata Devanaga Mahitika Punyantam Anumoditva Sirakrakantu Sasana. Akasatta Jumata Devanaga Mahitika Punyantam Anumoditva Sirakrakantu Pamparantu. Idang bonya idang botu sukita buntunyatiyo. Idang bonya idang botu sukita buntunyatiyo. Idang bonya idang botu sukita buntunyatiyo. Imina punya kamene mami bala samagamo. Adang samagamo botu yavanipana patiya. Imina punya kamene mami bala samagamo. Satang samagamo hotu yavanipana patiya. Imina punya kamene mami bala samagamo. Namo hotu yavanipana patiya. Sadhu sadhu sadhu.